I want to apologise to everyone that waited patiently for me to open up my live stream on YouTube and Facebook on Saturday. I was too triggered by events that transpired in the UN and also learning about the story that I'm about to tell you just now. Look at this perfectly beautiful example of a human being. This is Grandma Haria Nassar. She was born in 1944 and lived through the nakba of 1948. Haria stole the hearts of thousands online after appearing in a video posted by Palestinian journalist Sate Al-Jaafarawi, who visited her while she was in hospital recovering after being injured in an airstrike by the occupation forces in Palestine. In the video, Al-Jaafarawi stumbles across her date of birth while looking through her official documents and confirms that she was born prior to Israel's creation. And this is so very important. Haria is older than Israel in this video, and that is one of the reasons that it went viral. Her beautiful empathy and compassion that you can see in her eyes is so relatable to anyone that loves their grandparents. Al-Jaafarawi laughs with her, enjoying a moment which seems outside of their current situation. This video shows perfect humanity, oozing from an elder of our world who has experienced a life of persecution and oppression, but can still have an honest and sincere moment with those far younger than her. The brutality that she has lived through would never have been her experience if her lands had not been occupied and illegally settled by a people that would consider her a human animal. She returned home to her neighbourhood after being treated for her injuries, where a member of the occupation force, a brave young fighter, targeted her in the crosshairs of his sniper rifle and pulled the trigger. Haria Nassar, born in 1944, who lived through the nakba and all the violence of residing under a forced apartheid where her people's lives counted for nothing, was taken from us. Every Western politician needs to look at her. Everyone who sits on the wrong side of history and all those utter cowards who abstain from comment or vote need to look at her and tell me, did she deserve to die? Did she deserve to be shot in the head by those that occupy her land? There is no justification for this. Look at her. She has no fear, just love, and she has faced far greater threats in her world than many other people have. Take this ugly excuse for a human being, Keir Starmer. He looked terrified when he was welcomed to Scotland this week. This man deserves no peace for his decision not to call for a ceasefire in Palestine. His hypocrisy knows no bounds when it comes to accusations of alleged war crimes upon the people of Ukraine compared to his attitude of war crimes perpetuated by Israel.
What I want to see is obviously a ceasefire and the withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukraine. You know, that is what we all want to see, and that's what the measures we're taking are designed to achieve.
While I understand calls for a ceasefire at this stage, I do not believe that it is the correct position now, because a ceasefire always freezes any conflict in the state where it currently lies.
From what you've described of Israel's actions at the moment in its justified pursuit of Hamas, do you think it's acting within international law?
I think it's unwise for politicians to stand on stages like this or to sit in television studios and pronounce day by day which acts may or may not be in accordance with international law. I think it's not the role of politicians. I don't think it's wise to do it. I come with the benefit of a lawyer of having litigated about issues like this in the past, and in my experience, it often takes weeks or months to assimilate the evidence and to then work out whether there may or may not have been a breach of international law. So I think the call for politicians to look at half a picture on the screen without the full information and form an instant judgment as to whether it's this side of the line or the other side of the line is extremely unwise, and I'm not going to get involved in that kind of exercise.
With your lawyer's hat on, is Vladimir Putin a war criminal?
Yes.
Yes.
What I've seen already amounts to war crimes, particularly the awful attacks on civilians. And I think it's very important that he's held to account and is responsible. And all those that are acting with him know that they too will be held to account. And this is something which we need to make clear now, so that those who are involved at the moment know what the consequences are.
Incidentally, around 10,000 people have been killed in the Ukraine war in the past 2 years. Compare that to around 18,000 known deaths in Palestine in 2 months. And this figure doesn't even include those unrecovered bodies under the rubble. There could still be thousands there. There is a stark difference. There is no excuse for this, no reason for Haria to be the victim of such a violent death. But the reason and the blame for this violence firmly lays within the hands of the occupiers and those that support them. This alleged war did not start on October the 7th, 2023. You would be naive and lacking in critical cognitive processing if you thought this was true. It started long before the 7th of October and has been a brutal ongoing occupation of Palestinian lands where the people are being treated like animals for over 75 years. 75 years. The armed resistance by Palestinians is perfectly legal. The brutal enforcement of a violent ethnic cleansing by the occupiers perpetuated upon who they occupy is not. What makes matters even worse is that on Friday the 8th of December, when the door was opened once again to take steps towards peace with another ceasefire resolution being voted upon in the United Nations, America vetoes it and the UK abstains. I think that we can all agree that abstention may as well be a no vote. But the disgusting thing about this is that the American political leadership has given the green light for more beautiful people like Haria to be stolen away from us by occupation bullets and bombs that America has supplied. After her video went viral and after the world had seen a beautiful elderly woman injured by the occupation forces showing her natural humanity, after the world realised that this perfect human being was in actual fact older than Israel, it would not have surprised me if the occupation forces placed some sort of sick black humour bounty upon her head just to teach the Palestinians a lesson. They could not have someone saying that in actual fact they were older than Israel, could they? They could not be humiliated by such a thing, so they had to destroy the humiliation. Rest easy, Haria. You will not be forgotten.